Less than 1 in 4 Democrats under 30 say they're proud to be an American. 54% say they're embarrassed by it. Embarrassed? Like America's your mom picking you up at school? You're embarrassed to be an American? Well, guess what? The feeling's mutual, because you have no perspective. So talk to your children and remind them you don't really want to live like your heroes in Hamas. All the shit you do all day, it was all made in America. Your smartphone, your Grubhub, your freedom to bitch about America, that's all American stuff.
Bill Maher delivered one of his sharpest political critiques during America's 250th anniversary, offering pointed criticism of the Democratic Party on national television without softening his message or backing away from his arguments.
And finally, new rule, the smartest thing Democrats did this year was finding their patriotism again. If you told me a year ago that if Kamala Harris would be the nominee and in her acceptance speech she would use the word privilege, I would not have guessed that she used it the way she did.
The greatest privilege on earth. The privilege and pride of being an American.
Yeah, and Tim Walz also began his speech with a great line saying, "We're all here tonight for one beautiful, simple reason. We love this country."
The remarks quickly attracted attention across political media, with supporters praising his willingness to challenge his own side, while critics strongly disagreed with his conclusions. According to Maher's commentary, the issue was not specific policies or campaign platforms, but what he described as his party's changing attitude toward patriotism. He argued that Democrats appear to embrace national pride most visibly during election campaigns, while expressing a far more critical view at other times. Critics of the party have echoed that interpretation, suggesting patriotic messaging often becomes more prominent when voter outreach is the primary objective.
Every election year, Democrats seem to remember patriotism for about an hour at their convention when they're trying to win back swing voters. The whole message of Kamala's speech in 2024 was take back the flag. That's why she talked about America like a pageant contestant. Less than 1 in 4 Democrats under 30 say they're proud to be an American. 54% say they're embarrassed by it. Embarrassed? Like America's your mom picking you up at school?
Maher then turned to a broader political observation, raising a point that many commentators believe Democratic strategists have privately debated for years. His remarks immediately became one of the most discussed moments of the broadcast, fueling renewed debate about patriotism, messaging, and the party's relationship with American voters. According to Bill Maher, political messaging loses credibility when patriotic language appears only during campaign season. He argued that voters recognize the difference between consistent national pride and messaging that appears only when elections approach. In Maher's view, Americans notice criticism of the country's history, symbolic debates surrounding the flag, and the contrast between political rhetoric at rallies and messaging presented during campaigns. He suggested those perceptions contributed to broader challenges facing Democratic candidates, extending beyond any single campaign or policy proposal. Maher also pointed to history, arguing that earlier generations of progressive activists approached patriotism differently.
Again, I'm confused by this political message. Vote for me because I hate it here. Now, does America have big problems? Yes, I've often cited the America Sucks list. Things like being 54th in the world in infant mortality behind Cuba, 19th in literacy behind Russia, 72nd in female representation in government behind Iraq. A lot of work to do here. And is it possible for a country to lose itself so much that leaving it is justified? Yes, but we're not there yet, not by a long shot, and we don't need quitters. We need people who will stay and fix it.
Rather than distancing themselves from American symbols, they often embrace them while arguing that the nation's ideals belong to everyone. According to Maher, that strategy strengthened their ability to connect with a broader audience. He contrasted that approach with what he sees as a modern tendency to surrender patriotic symbolism to political opponents, leaving many working-class voters feeling increasingly disconnected from the Democratic Party. Continuing his argument, Maher claimed the party has gradually lost touch with many everyday Americans because of cultural attitudes that extend beyond policy debates. Referencing a political candidate who reportedly expressed a desire to leave the country, He suggested this mindset reflects a broader pattern rather than an isolated incident. According to Maher, public officials seeking leadership positions should demonstrate confidence in the country they hope to govern rather than conveying frustration or resignation.
Every election year, Democrats seem to remember patriotism for about an hour at their convention when they're trying to win back swing voters. The whole message of Kamala's speech in 2024 was take back the flag. That's why she talked about America like a pageant contestant.
The greatest privilege on earth. The privilege and pride of being an American.
Hard to believe she lost, huh? Well, you can't take back the flag in an hour if the rest of the time you treat patriotism as something vaguely embarrassing.
The audience responded with laughter, which many commentators interpreted as recognition of a familiar political stereotype. Maher concluded with a broader message about patriotism and political identity. In his view, America is not beyond repair, and constantly portraying the nation as fundamentally hopeless discourages rather than inspires voters. He argued that meaningful political leadership requires confronting problems directly instead of presenting pessimism as a defining philosophy. According to Maher, genuine patriotism means acknowledging flaws while continuing to believe the country is worth improving. That perspective, he suggested, offers a stronger foundation for rebuilding public trust than repeatedly emphasizing decline without presenting a hopeful vision for the future. Bill Maher also pointed to polling that he believes reinforces his broader argument about patriotism within American politics. According to Gallup survey results cited during the discussion, 36% of Democrats in 2025 said they were extremely or very proud to be American, compared with 62% the previous year. During the same period, Republicans reported substantially higher levels of national pride. Maher argued that the widening gap reflects a significant shift in political attitudes that deserves serious attention rather than dismissal.
If, for your exile, you do wind up in some comparatively luxurious place like Canada or Japan or the UK, not that they want you. At best, you'll be trading a bunch of stuff you hate about this country for a bunch of stuff you'll soon hate about your new home. It took me only 4 days in Amsterdam to learn that while I admire Amsterdam, I don't want to live there. The buildings are cramped and shaped like needles. The food is awful. The TV's in a different language. It's wet and cold. The people are polite but cold.
To Maher, those numbers highlight a deeper contradiction within modern political messaging. He argued that expressing disappointment with the country while simultaneously advocating for its future creates a tension that many voters readily notice. According to his analysis, Americans are more likely to respond positively to leaders who acknowledge the nation's flaws while still demonstrating confidence in its future, rather than emphasizing pessimism or frustration as a defining political message. Maher also referenced polling involving younger voters, including survey findings showing that a significant share of young Democrats reported feeling embarrassed to be American. He argued that many members of this generation enjoy extraordinary opportunities and freedoms while remaining unusually critical of the country that provides them.
So I'm not down with this attitude of, well, we're having a party, but if Trump's going, I'm not. That's so high school it should be in the Epstein files. Go to the party. It's a big celebration. You probably won't run into him.
According to Maher, this reflects a growing disconnect between lived experience and political rhetoric, with criticism increasingly overshadowing appreciation for the broader opportunities available in American society. The discussion concluded with Maher's broader point about civic identity. He argued that national celebrations should rise above temporary political disagreements because the country itself is larger than any individual leader or administration. In his view, mature citizenship means recognizing that governments change, elections come and go, and political parties rise and fall, while the nation continues beyond those individual moments. That distinction, Maher suggested, has become increasingly important as political polarization continues shaping how many Americans view patriotism, national symbols, and their relationship with the country itself. Bill Maher argued that many progressives idealize life in Europe without fully understanding the practical realities that come with it. According to his commentary, some people view other countries through an overly romantic lens, focusing on appealing images rather than everyday challenges such as higher taxes, housing costs, cultural differences, or different legal systems.
I wore it every day, and nobody thought it meant that I loved Nixon. Because 50 years ago, liberals didn't concede patriotism. Abbie Hoffman was the quintessential 60s radical, and when he had to appear before the House Un-American Activities Committee, he wore an American flag shirt, which some cops later ripped off his back. Because the message that most threatens authoritarians isn't America sucks, it's America is ours too.
Maher suggested that comparisons between countries often overlook the trade-offs involved, creating expectations that do not always match reality. Maher also contended that many of the freedoms frequently criticized in the United States are the very freedoms that make open political debate possible. In his view, the ability to protest, criticize elected officials, publish controversial opinions, produce political comedy, and openly challenge institutions exists because of constitutional protections that remain unusually broad by international standards. He contrasted those liberties with countries where political expression faces far greater legal or governmental restrictions. Continuing that argument, Maher maintained that many Americans underestimate the unique protections they enjoy while idealizing places that do not offer the same level of free expression.
In America, you have to want to live here. I bring this up because there was a video that made the rounds recently by a woman who said she was a proud progressive and was running for state representative in New Hampshire, and yet posted this.
Is there a place we can move that people would be happy to have us, that we're not gentrifying or colonizing? I don't want to be a problem, but I need to get this country.
This country. The one you want to be elected to a leadership position in? What was your campaign slogan? America, a shining shithole on a hill?
He referenced nations with severe limits on political dissent as examples of how different public life can become when those freedoms are absent. According to Maher, appreciating constitutional rights does not require believing the country is perfect, but it does require recognizing the importance of preserving those liberties. Maher concluded that the Democratic Party faces a challenge extending beyond campaign strategy or messaging alone. In his assessment, the issue centers on broader political values and how those values are communicated to voters. He argued that reconnecting with a larger share of the electorate will require presenting a vision that balances criticism of America's shortcomings with confidence in its institutions, opportunities, and enduring democratic principles. According to Bill Maher, one of the Democratic Party's biggest mistakes has been emphasizing demographic categories over individual concerns. He argued that many voters want to be understood as people with everyday responsibilities rather than as members of political groups or identity labels. Critics who share Maher's perspective believe this approach weakens the party's connection with ordinary Americans, whose priorities often center on family, financial security, personal safety, and opportunities for the future, instead of ideological classifications.
Maybe the problem isn't that America isn't worth defending. Maybe the problem is that lots of people today are entitled whiners who have no perspective and no idea how good they have it. 59% of self-identified liberals say there have been times when they considered leaving America for good, like after NBC canceled The West Wing. I don't get it. You want so badly for every immigrant to come to this country and experience the good life, but somehow it's so terrible you want to leave?
Maher also pointed to what he views as a broader cultural shift that contributed to the party's electoral struggles. He noted that several influential public figures and large numbers of working-class voters who were once viewed as politically aligned with Democrats have gradually moved away. According to Maher, this change was driven less by policy disagreements than by tone. He argued that many voters felt criticized, dismissed, or stereotyped rather than welcomed into the political conversation, creating a growing disconnect that the party has struggled to address. The discussion then expanded to immigration and America's global appeal. Maher observed that millions of people around the world continue seeking opportunities to legally enter the United States, citing publicly reported immigration figures as evidence that the country remains highly attractive despite its challenges. In his view, that reality creates an important contrast with political narratives portraying America as fundamentally broken. He argued that if so many people continue pursuing the opportunity to build lives in the United States, the nation's strengths deserve recognition alongside its shortcomings. Maher concluded by suggesting that the Democratic Party's future may depend on rebuilding its relationship with voters who increasingly feel disconnected from its messaging. According to his analysis, restoring confidence will require engaging people as individuals rather than political categories, while presenting a vision that balances criticism with optimism about the country's future. Whether that assessment proves correct remains part of an ongoing national debate, but his comments have added another prominent voice to the discussion about patriotism, political identity, and the direction of American politics.